Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate the opportunity to discuss House Bill 211 today. I decided to pursue this legislation after meeting with a constituent on the issue. Because of unnecessarily restrictive laws, small business owners who have invested their life savings are often forced to watch customers travel across state lines with their business to more friendly environments. Cigar bars are not a new idea. In fact, we currently have several across the Commonwealth, including one right here in Frankfort. Numerous states across the country have some type of legislation that allow for or regulate cigar bars, and this would bring the Commonwealth in line with our surrounding states. I'd like to start by explaining what this bill does not do to clear up some misconceptions that might exist. This bill does not fully roll back existing smoke-free laws in any local municipality in the Commonwealth. This is not about smoking cigars in a regular bar, your local bowling alley, a restaurant, or in any other public place that doesn't currently allow smoking. If you do not want to be exposed to cigar smoke in a public place where smoke-free laws currently exist, nothing in this bill changes your ability to maintain that separation. Instead, what the bill does is to create a very narrow exemption that will allow for the smoking of cigars inside of what is very tightly defined as a cigar bar. In order to meet the definition of a cigar bar, the business must have 15% of its gross annual revenue derived from the sale of cigars, pipe tobacco, cigar-related accessories, or the rental of humidors. This percentage requirement was garnered from the average of similar legislation from across the country. In fact, some states don't even require any such percentage of sales. Additionally, the business must maintain a valid retail drink license for the on-premise consumption of alcoholic beverages, and no one under the age of 21 years old may be permitted to enter. The requirement for an alcohol beverage license is in line nationally with the business model for these types of establishments. It also adds another layer of government inspections and accountability to the process. A local government may enact an ordinance requiring a cigar bar to obtain an annual permit for its inspection, its operation, to ensure that the applicant complies with the requirements set forth in this legislation. This bill requires any cigar bar that shares a physical wall or common enclosed airspace with any other structure to implement measures to ensure that smoke cannot pass into the interior or enclosed airspaces of other structures. One final provision included in this bill that is fairly unique is the requirement for a smoke-free delivery space to ensure that delivery drivers or mail carriers who may not wish to be exposed to smoke have a space to deliver packages. The bill also requires signage to be posted at the entrance to any space where someone entering may be exposed to smoke. Mr. Speaker, would you have the clerk report House Committee Substitute 1? Mr. Speaker, would you have the clerk report House Committee Substitute 1, please?
Mr. Clerk, please report.
House Committee Substitute 1 to House Bill 211.
Gentleman from Jefferson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Committee Substitute 1 made some minor language changes in consultation with the Kentucky League of Cities. It also added the requirement that 15% annual sales must come from cigars or related accessories. It added the language allowing local governments to require a permit. And it added the requirement for businesses to post notice that an individual entering the premises will be exposed to smoke. Mr. Speaker, I move adoption of House Committee Substitute 1.
Motion made for the adoption of House Committee Substitute 1. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carries. House Committee Substitute 1 is adopted. Gentleman from Jefferson.
Mr. Speaker, would you have the clerk report House Floor Amendment 2?
Mr. Clerk, please report.
House Floor Amendment 2 to House Bill 211.
Gentleman from Jefferson.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. House Floor Amendment 2 will simply grandfather in any currently operating cigar bars from being required to provide a smoke-free delivery space. This will prevent those businesses currently in operation from incurring unreasonable expenses to establish such a space as a result of this legislation. I move for the adoption of House Floor Amendment 2, Mr. Speaker.
Motion made for the adoption of House Floor Amendment 2. Is there any discussion? Chair recognizes the lady from Jefferson 38.